today I'm going to talk about Nine of Wands. This card, it's hard to tell if it's positive or negative. There's so many positive things about this card, but it's not, like Eight of Wands, a new beginning in many ways. Something's going to lift you up and take you out of the dull into something exciting. Nine of Wands is when you live, what's exciting to you, and you have everything that you really love and care about, but you have to protect it, you have to safeguard it. This is a very conservative card, in the sense that you conserve and safeguard and sustain what you already have and who you are as a person. It's a completely different energy. This card is also a card of stress, because there's a lot of pressure on the seeker, and being in having to stand up and resist and fight. It's taken a toll on the seeker, but they can't fold either, because if they fold, they lose everything that they care about. It can be the time after a very stressful period. It can be recovering from a natural disaster as well. Safeguarding your home from events that is completely out of your control. But it can also be political as well, political pressure. It can be just the culture you live in that causing stress on you. It can be people's attitudes towards you that causing you stress, and you need to safeguard against it. And something outside that causing enormous amount, or I don't like to say enormous, but it causing enough stress on the seeker that they're wounded in some way, but they can't give up. They have to keep going. What is being built here is strength and resilience. But it's uncertainty as well. It's a lot of uncertainty here. The seeker doesn't know who to trust. Can they even trust what's going on? They can't really see clearly what is going on. They just know that they have to wait out this period until they do have clarity. They need to wait out so they can rebuild. This is a card for never giving up and never surrendering. It's so easy to give up and surrendering, and just it's so easy to be destructive. It's much easier to tear something down than to build something up. And in Nine of Wands, it's a warning there for the seeker not to so easily give up, not to surrender and just throw away the old, because the old has so much value when this card is showing up. It's something that is truly meaningful to the seeker. So this card, to sum it up kind of in a general sense, and I try to symbolize that in my card, it's protecting everything you hold dear. So this card, it's Nine of Wands in my deck, but I named this picture Protect the Darling, because it's like to protect what you hold dear, protect everything you love. But you can almost see the flood has torn something away, something that's now in the rubbles, but there's still what needs to be protected, which is you see the swans in the background, the relationship, and the baby, the child, the baby bird in the man's arms. So there's so much to protect that is so meaningful to the seeker. And this card is there to tell the seeker, do not let go. Now is not the time to let go of what you love, and you have to protect it. So there's a lot of lessons in this card as well. You're going to learn a lot about yourself while you're in this energy. You are in a rapid learning curve when this card is showing up. It's sink and swim often. And you might wonder what would be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But what this card really says is that you have an unlimited amount of strength and resources. So that straw will never come. Only if you accept it in your mind, you will continue growing. If you know it's possible, you will continue being strong. In a love reading, Nine of Wands speak of a relationship that's under stress, but it can also be the relationship itself that's stressful. So you have to see what's going on there. If you get kind of the devil with this card, it's most likely the relationship itself that's stressful. Maybe you're with an obsessive person that's causing a lot of stress on you, and you have to constantly protect or safeguard your inner life, your values. Maybe you always have to defend yourself, your standpoint. You have to maybe defend how you spend your time, who you're with, what you're saying. Maybe you get the third degree every day. But sometimes it's also a relationship that the seeker feel extremely protective of. Maybe they're very afraid of losing this relationship. It can be that they have built up so much together. Maybe there's children involved and family, and everything needs kind of safeguarding and protecting. In a career reading, 901 speak of jobs that you want to defend, the job that's meaningful to you, but maybe you feel like your position is under threat and you have to defend your position. Maybe you feel like you're a bit of a scapegoat in the workplace. Maybe you feel that you can easily get blamed for things and you're kind of being thrown under the bus, and you have to kind of fight a battle at workplace to even be able to be allowed to be an individual. Maybe you have to kind of put on a strong facade all the time, but maybe on the inside you just feel really vulnerable, but you're not allowed to show that. It can speak of jobs that are of a defensive nature, such as defense jobs, custom work, police, fire brigade, but it can also mean just a lot of it can also mean a career where the seeker has a lot of responsibility, but there's minimal support for them. So what this card means is that the seeker meets all demand with great ability, but maybe they just feel a bit wrecked at the same time. They just wish there could be a bit more support for them as well. This card speaks of spurts of growth in the seeker's life. So if you're asking about careers, it's a career that you'll have a lot of growing. Like you'll grow a lot, be extremely independent in this role. And people will look at you and wonder, how do you do it all? And no one can replace you. You'll be irreplaceable in the workplace, but there might not be any thanks either. Depends a little bit on what other cards you're getting. If you're getting it with a Page of Swords, then there will be very little thanks, but you will be invaluable in the role. If you get it with Kings, then there will be rewards, and you will get rewarded for it. In a yes/no question, this card is more likely a no, but it does depend, of course, on the question. If you're asking if something new will manifest, then this card is more likely a no, only because this is not for the new. This is more to protect the old. This is more safeguarding the old, not creating so many new things. It's more building on what you already have. 9 of Wands as feelings speaks of feeling overwhelmed, wounded, and under a lot of pressure. And that you feel the need to protect yourself and your life, and maybe you're a little bit paranoid about what's going on as well. Maybe you see dangers everywhere and you try and kind of predict what's going to happen. You're trying to stay on top of everything and you feel like you really need to have a very strong overview of everything that's going on. If you're asking how someone is feeling about you, it can be that this person feel that maybe they're a bit hurt by you. Maybe they feel like you put some pressure on them. Maybe there is some trust issues between you. Maybe they're unsure how to assert their boundaries, and maybe they feel like they don't know where your boundary is. And maybe you have brought up some worthiness issues in them, and maybe they brought up worthiness issues in you, and kind of stirring all these sort of shadow sides up in each other, and they're there to be dealt with. 9 of Wands as personality type speaks of someone who has a lot of potential within them to grow, to reach their highest potential. There's a lot of accomplishments here, but it's often a long-term goals that they're working towards. It's not short-term here. This is long-term goals. And also it could be the goals that you're setting up your children, basically. Like you're looking way ahead. What would be best for your children's future? So you're making plans for the next generation. And these are people who are very protective of their homes, their loved ones, their children especially. They are optimistic about the future, but quite conservative as well, and realistic at the same time. They'll never give up. They won't surrender. They're resilient, and in the long run, they tend to get what they want because they play the long game. When this card is reversed, it is inability to protect what really matters. So it's like, in relationship, an example would be throw away a diamond for a rock, that kind of thing. Like you throw away something really good, and you think the new relationship is going to be better, but it's not even anything. It's barely even. You can't compare a diamond and a rock. You know what I mean? And it's like wasting something good for something that's nothing. There's a waste of energy as well here in this card reverse, as all of the wands, because the wands really speak of spiritual energy, and when they're reversed, it's almost like there's blockages in spiritual energy, and it has to do with this seeker and how they're thinking and their mindset. And in 9 of Wands, it's in the inability to save something that's really valuable. And it's because they don't understand that it is valuable. They don't see it. They don't care enough. And when they do care, it's often too late. So it can be that they hold their position maybe also just because they want to win. They want to be stubborn, not because they really even care about what the issue. They just want to be stubborn about it, kind of thing. And where they should be growing, where there should be growth to expel, fears and doubts and all that things, when the seeker grows in confidence, that fears, it disappears. They're growing less confidence, and the fear and the doubt remain. And the obstacles becomes too hard to overcome. And sometimes there's just so much confusion, even injuries to the head is seen. In this card reverse, there will be a straw that breaks the camel's back when it's reversed, because it's like the mindset of the seeker is like they feel like soon they're going to break. So they're just waiting for the breakdown to happen, basically. They're expecting it, so because they expect it, it will happen. Sometimes if it's less negative, it just means the seeker is fatigued, very fatigued. They need a break to regain their energy again, basically. And one way you can look at all the reverse cards, when there are blockages in them, go to the card before. The card before 9 of Wands is 8 of Wands. 8 of Wands is lifting the spirit by doing more fun things like surfing, skiing, like fun activities that just kind of lifts your spirit, but it's often a bit of adrenaline involved as well. 9 of Wands reversed as a personality type is someone who maybe be like they throw away all common sense and they have views that doesn't make any sense. They don't support others. They are the ones that need the support, but they often take a lot more than what they give. They often also give up before they try, and they lack self-beliefs. So it can also just mean someone who believes that they have nothing left to lose. So they just kind of live in that mindset, there's nothing left to lose, so they don't even try and safeguard their life. They're a bit reckless. And they're reckless often also with other people's lives as well, and they can do damage to people that way. They don't really care about consequences. It can mean that they just give up defending their territory because they didn't really want it in the first place, so they don't see the value in it. So when this shows up in your reading and it's reversed, look at what it is that you should value that you're not valuing. What is it that you're walking away from that maybe you regret walking away from? There could be a lot of regrets as a result of this card when you live it out in the reversed kind of scenario. Now we're going to have a look in the runes. This is Oracle Mixing as Spirit to give us some clarity. 9 of Wands, we want the essence of this card. What does it really mean? What's the lesson? How can we work with this energy? Something new often shows up that can be really, really helpful. Okay, so 9 of Wands, and I'm asking about the upright meaning, but I'm getting Wunjo reversed. So Wunjo upright is wooing, going after something you really want. When it's reversed, it's kind of like retreating, you're not wooing something. I'm reading it also in the context of the card as well. So it's like maybe someone is wooing you, but you don't want their wooing. So it's also having discernment on what's good for you. You don't have to say yes to every opportunity. And in yes and no, it's more likely a no, because there's going to be opportunities that you're going to have to say no to. You don't have to say yes to all opportunities. Some opportunities will be disastrous. And this can be an opportunity coming your way that you meant to say no to. And above it, I get Berkano, and it's really close together with a rune that is face down. So I'm not going to look at it, but it's clinging together with it, almost as cuddling. It's already knows what it wants. It's not interested in the new opportunity. Berkano here is growing with what it's already have. So the essence of 9 of Wands, it's grow with what you already have rather than burning it down, hoping for the phoenix, because the phoenix is not going to come out of the ashes this time. It will just be a pile of ash, and what you have is worth safeguarding. So that's the essence in 9 of Wands. Next card I'm going to do is 10 of Wands.